This week on Hermitcraft.
Cactus flowers as well, and there's dried leaves. You can smelt leaves.
You can smelt leaves? What?
This is a Gemini update. This is what I needed
I was gonna
in my
say,
life.
what?
Welcome to the Hermitcraft recap. My name is Pixelriffs. Our writer is Loy XP. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. And if you thought the hermits were going to move out to exile permanently, you might be forgiven for forgetting the Fanart gallery is built at spawn. And this thing ain't gonna curate itself. For those of you artistically inclined and interested in submitting art for False Symmetry, Good Times with Scar, Mumbo Jumbo, or ZF, they are the outstanding entries in the gallery yet to be filled, and the deadline is fast approaching. So please head to the Reddit link in the video description for details on how to get involved, and make sure to read the terms and conditions before donating your time and effort. In the meantime, things are getting back to business as usual on the Hermitcraft server. What with the permit office no longer looming over the shopping district, the Exile storyline concluded, and the charity event now in the rearview mirror as well. So let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with Joel Smallish Beans, who contributes a lot of his own art to the room in the fan art gallery, that being the decoration around the paintings to really make that part of the museum pop. In fact, he takes a few replicas of the paintings to his own base and puts them up on the walls lining the Magic Mountain descent stairway so he can have the prettiest graffiti on this side of the Impulse wall. Granted, the Joel-specific art on the other side of Impulse's wall is looking in the wrong direction to begin with.
And it says, "Sup beans, here now," and someone's put on toast. I don't know who did that. Bro, my base is this way. You fed it the wrong direction, my man.
Of his larger scale builds, Joel finally puts the much anticipated castle at the top of the Japan-inspired city. The grand structure becomes so powerful, in fact, that it breaks the flashback mod, meaning that Joel has to go to the developers for a patch, making Joel Small Beans a developer-approved beta tester. You can all thank him for your flashbacks not crashing whenever you next build a Japan-inspired castle.
It kept crashing, so I messaged in the Hermitcraft Discord, and we got it patched. I was a bug tester for flashback. Woohoo!
To complete the look, Joel even frames the grand steps with custom cherry blossom trees to shed particles all across the skyscraper city. While Joel is concerned about the direction of Impulse's signage, Impulse is more concerned with the message itself changing. Thanks to chunks unloading at odd times, the city is now being told to sue per beans, which is perhaps not what they needed to hear right now.
And unfortunately, I'm going to be having to remove this on toast. It was a bit of a prank. I think it had something to do with the Hermitcraft recap.
So to fit the lore of the cyberpunk citizens versus the oppressive AI, Impulse fixes it to say evacuate instead.
A little off-center because we lost the spacing between two words, but I think it looks pretty good.
If it's a fast escape route they want, his next project seems tailor-made to help them, as long as they don't mind firing themselves out of an experimental cannon. Inspired by recent designs for player launchers that use the wind-charged potion to great effect, Impulse sets one up on the roof of a skyscraper and finds himself rocketed out to the mining desert within mere seconds. Which is good news, because some of the chunks of the nether seem to have reset, not only chomping sections out of some nether roof farms, but also erasing some convenient nether portals in the process. So at least he has a rapid transport alternative while waiting for the fix to come in from the admins.
Now I gotta fly back.
Tango Tech, in the meantime, makes his office chair into a wheelchair for a getaway vehicle. In all fairness, he might need one when one of his faithful technician minions trips over a factory self-destruct button. Mind you, that has happened before this season. We've seen this redstone blow up once already.
I offered up 10 technicians on the bridge here, and if people supported the cause, if they got their name, I would name a technician after them.
The armor stand robot workers are not even the main occupational hazard for poor Tango. When he builds a descending river to connect his base to Gemini Tay's general base grounds, Good Times with Scar catches the man AFK and almost drowns him in the newly built waters. Scar's actual goal was to nudge Tango somewhere with breeze charges before he notices, which he succeeds at, only replay mod revealing the waterboarding.
Wind charge. I didn't know where to put you. Once I committed, well, I don't know if you know, but I did save your life.
Save my life for the safety of my base. That was good. Thank you. I was in big danger in that safe corner, yeah.
Other than that, Tango's operation of connecting his home base to the actual ground in a way that looks natural and pleasant goes off without a hitch. Even if the neighbor trouble continues, what with Skizzleman bringing a whole stenographic transcript of their conversation just to prove he can grab materials from Tango's storage as much as he'd like.
No, Skizz, you're clearly very clever and handsome. Okay, that's enough, bro. No, dude, like, it's not often my homies are that cool, good looking, and all around awesome. See, most people just come over to my storage room and steal things.
Speaking of transcripts, good luck to anybody trying to caption the segment of Skizz's video where he invites a few of the other hermits to all record their intros at once. Sorry, Liara.
We're going, here we go, we're in the intro.
We walk together.
Ironically, the rest of Skizz's week is spent trying to get a clean take of everyone saying things, because he's gotten tired of Impulse's genius being proclaimed from the walls of his base and decided to take his revenge, first by getting the hermits to read lines about how experienced and clever he is, from this book, which he never saved the contents of.
These are written like you, in your cadence. Oh my god. Lessons on how to just be awesome? There's a just in there? That's such a you. It's obviously written by you.
That doesn't stop the hermits from giving it their best shot, and he divides them up amongst several player heads which he hides throughout Impulse's base. This, combined with perusing his very own fan art gallery submissions, really made this the ideal week for him to build Tier 4 of his Pyramid of Needs base, this one focused on, you guessed it, self-esteem.
You find yourself in a space to where you are trying to find out, well, what's different about me, right? I'm in this union, and what is it that makes me special and makes me stand out and all that stuff.
So, with the server letting you play your own sound files within the world, is it any surprise CubFan135 brings in the elevator music? In all fairness, the tune comes with its own elevator, which is how Cub has decided to connect the tunnel from Pearlescent Moon's base to his Skulk Plains. It's a small but clever slime block flying machine that rises from the Skulken floor when you're ready to take the ride, then takes you to the secret cave down below with a tune but not the arrival ding noise.
Oh, it's elevator music.
Elevator music.
The blocks are very loud, but the music is lovely. Oh.
Pearl approves of the contraption, and together they finally connect the bases with that bridge they planned out, which sure takes a turn. To the right, and then back to the base. Also, just for the record, Cubfan and Skizzleman launch an armadillo on a TNT blaster. The Hermitcraft space program is as consistent as ever.
TNT blast. And here he comes. Back from space.
Oh, there he is.
Hey.
Hey.
Rendog, on the other hand, is already in space, so the only thing he can do with the armadillos is auction them off for charity. Congratulations to those of you who donated to charity to receive your very own space rodent, and just be happy it isn't one of those donated to the scootball field.
They are definitely going to despawn or get killed or get lost over the course of the next few months. So I'm thinking some sort of a space rat research enclosure somewhere around here.
Ren's Gigacorp duties continue in the background as he flashes back to the end of the Exile saga for his audience's benefit, so if you're returning after a couple of weeks and have no idea how they're all back at spawn now, maybe give Ren's POV a look this week.
You're not going to make the decision.
No, well, What did you go to school for?
His POV is about to change though, because XP Crafted may just have sold him Corrales' base.
This is the best 20 diamond blocks I've ever spent. Amazing.
I appreciate you taking an interest and looking to take. You even get a cat right over there.
Yes, XP notes that Corrales has been absent for a little while, long enough that he decides Corrales has forfeited the rights to his land, and he decides to sell it off to the last guy we saw fishing off a boat in a tropical location. Ren is happy to take 3 planes, 2 boats, and a piece of paper off XP's hands in exchange for a lot of diamond blocks, although it's only after the deed is done that he notices the army of drowned crawling up from the nearby river.
But it's a fix-me-upper, right? It's a fix-me-upper on the real estate flip.
Oh god, there are so many.
Back at the site of his new mob farm, XP notes that the biggest problem building in a frozen ocean is the ice, and also the water. But even though that slows him down, it doesn't stop him finishing the cooking chamber for his mob farm in style. In the meantime, False Symmetry has turned her whole base into a mob farm, given how dark and dramatic the interior of her home tube has become. The latest expansion to the Riverside Market of Falses is a raised, flattened cone, giving the overall base a kind of rain cap aesthetic. Figures with the structure nearing completion, she wanted to skip ahead and put a lid on it.
I quite like it. I definitely think it looks a little bit better during the nighttime outside, but it looks pretty good inside. I'm pretty happy with it so far.
Not helping the situation is a gaggle of server mates coming over with breeze charges to flip-flap her side shutters. Well, whichever way the wind was blowing, False has smelled out Azuma Void building a river without a license, and is all too happy to stop by and offer her assistance or approval.
You know what? I'll just stand in front of him, so when he comes back, he just sees me. I can see big business in these eyes. Azuma is up to big business.
With permits otherwise out of circulation, Jevin has come back to his flowering forest base, but it's not quite where he would like to be about now. For you see, the Farlands exile is still keeping something of his own. His heart. By which we mean Sal the Salmonhead, the much merchandisable revolutionary leader. So, with the help of Joe Hills and his magical Ender Pearl double relog detector machine, Ijevin gets back to the Exile lands, rescues his fish, along with a surprising amount of diamonds, and comes back to the mainland ready for his next adventure. Well, more ready than last week, because his real-life health has recovered a bit.
When we come back next episode, I think I'm going to work on the castle some more. To get back into that and start trying to get reintegrated back into the server.
And finally, there's Joe Hills. If you can spot him within the 2,000 chunks he's able to load with an alpha version of the Voxy mod. This of course assumes he's explored a 2,000 chunk radius of the server, but he makes sure to cover some ground in this video as he tours the server with some of the other hermits, and, post-exile, they dig up a few of the secret bases they've discovered on each other's turf.
We're here.
Oh, this is 100% Cub.
This is so Cub, right?
Yeah, this is so Cub.
Joe is in the process of connecting Hermit Homedale to B00's area, but as he explains to Cub, B-Dubs has raised the bar for path building, and Joe at least wants to match his energy. So Cub suggests he snow feet, and together they build an enormous footprint that's best seen from the air. Luckily, Joe can now see it from 1,000+ chunks away.
That's kind of what this whole area is for. Is just like, oh, let's just try something silly and different, and it'll work because that's what this area is for.
Cub and Scar also intercept Joe as he rescues some horses from the nether roof, but fortunately they don't bring the same sense of dread when they show up these days.
Do you want to come see where I'm at?
I'm going to push Cub. I'm pushing Cub. We'll be there in about 3 hours.
And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is SloyXP and my name is Pixel Riffs. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.